All right, um, so everyone knows painting, right? So painting is the practice of applying paint, pigment, color, or other medium to a solid surface. The medium is commonly applied to the base with a brush, but other implements such as knives, sponges, and airbrushes can be used. The final work is also called a painting. Painting is an important form in the visual arts, bringing in elements such as drawing, gesture, composition, narration, or abstraction. Paintings can be naturalistic and representational, photographic, abstract, narrative, symbolic, emotive, or political in nature. In art, the term painting describes both the act and the result of the action. The support for paintings includes such surfaces as walls, paper, canvas, wood, glass, lacquer, pottery, leaf, copper, and concrete. And the painting may incorporate multiple other materials, including sand, clay, paper, plaster, gold leaf, as well as objects. And there are many types of paintings, but we are going to see four main painting mediums today. So first one is fresco, and the second one is tempera, and the third one is oil, and the last one is acrylic. So let's see one by one. So fresco painting. Um, the fresco is above all a wall painting technique, and it has been used for large scale mural since the ancient time. Uh, so with fresco, pigments are mixed with water and applied to a plaster support, usually a wall or a ceiling coated in plaster. So true fresco is paint made simply of pigment and water applied to wet lime plaster. As the plaster dries, the lime undergoes a chemical transformation and acts as a binder, fusing the pigment with the plaster surface. It's kind of hard to understand what it is. So I'm going to share a video to show the process of fresco painting.
Fresco by Benozzo Gozzoli want to be a sort of stratigraphic of a fresco to grasp the materials and the executive technique. Fresco technique is based on the chemistry of the mirror's elements, in particular lime, which develops adhesive forces only on materials of the same nature, minerals in fact. The terracotta brick wall is properly brushed and washed in order to receive a first layer of very rough mortar made up of one part of lime and three of coarse sand, or other inert particles of large granulometry. This layer is well beaten with a float and left very rough because it must ensure the grip of the next layers to the masonry and therefore the stability of the entire work. On this first coarse layer called rough cast, we spread another one arriccio sand finish, still rough, repeating the same previous operation. It will be on this layer that the painter will sketch his preparatory drawing, the Sinopia. Until the middle of 15th centuries, Italian fresco painters frequently paint the outlines for the main forms in their composition on arriccio, the sand finish, before applying the new intonaco section. Most pigments employed for these compositional guides have a red earthy color called sinopia. There were and are decisive elements such as painting itself. After having wet the wall to saturation, this last layer of mortar is laid on and painted before it is hardened, guaranteeing the properties of brightness and resistance typical of fresco. In described in details by Cennino Cennini in his book of the art, written at the end of 14th century, when the plaster began to pool, that is when no trace is visible at a slight pressure with the finger, it is possible to apply the pigments mixed only to pure water. In the Renaissance, this national sketch of the figures was helped to speed up with the transfer of the drawing through the cartoon.
So like this, the artist, they have to finish their painting before the plaster dries. So that is the basic concepts of the fresco painting. So as you see, the process is very complicated. And it takes a long time to finish one piece of work. But once the painting placed in a wall, it lasts almost forever. That's why we can see 500 or 600 years old fresco painting today, and they are almost the same as the original. So everyone look familiar with this painting, right? So this is one of the Renaissance master Raphael's painting, the School of Athens, and it is a fresco large wall painting in Vatican. So just let's see the creation year. It's 1510. So since it is a fresco painting, we can still see this 500 years old painting today. In this painting, so nearly every great Greek philosopher is presented, including the two main subjects, Plato and his student Aristotle, located at the fresco's central vanishing point. And some of the ancient philosophers resemble Raphael's contemporaries. And let's see the next painting medium, tempera. Tempera is an aqueous medium like watercolor that dries to a tough insoluble film. Its colors retain their brilliance and clarity for centuries. Technically, tempera is paint in which the vehicle is an emulsion, which is a stable mixture of aqueous liquid with an oil, fat, wax, or resin. However, the most famous tempera's vehicle is egg yolk. So I'm gonna share a video to show how to use egg yolk as a vehicle in a traditional tempera's painting.
Really the high Renaissance, egg tempera was the principal way of making an image if you were painting on a panel. It's the most archival painting medium. It lasts longer than watercolors, oil paints, anything. All you need is egg yolk, water, and powdered pigment. All paint starts with raw powdered pigment, and a binder basically is a substance with adhesive properties that holds the paint together, and then when it's applied to a surface, the binder then dries and holds the paint on the surface of whatever it is, a panel or canvas or whatever it is that you're painting. The egg white, we don't use an egg yolk tempera, and then what I want to get into my jar is just the egg yolk. Feeling Julia Child here. Paul Cadmus, he said at this point it's a fairly viscous, it's a pure egg yolk. He said he would mix in enough water so that it had the consistency of half and half. Give it a good shake. Yeah, and that's about right. And that is it. That is the binder for egg tempera. When you mix the egg yolk binder in with the powdered pigment and mix it up, you've got your egg tempera. So this is the way I do it. I will bring a little bit of the dry pigment and I just dip my palette knife, get a little bit of egg yolk. And that's tempera. Easy as that. Egg tempera goes on in thin strokes. It dries very quickly, within seconds. So you cannot mess around and model and blend the egg tempera. All has to be, it's all hatch marks, one on top of the other. If you look carefully at it, you'll see all these stroke. Each individual, they're not any kind of illusion of soft transitions are because it's very carefully regulated, and by building up these multiple very thin strokes one on top of the other. With egg tempera, as you can see, this is very flat. It's a very fluid medium. If you try to add a glob of egg tempera, it would dry and crack off, it would flake off. Everything has to be built in very delicate layers, and that's what gives George Tooker's paintings that almost opalescent, satiny quality.
Okay, so that was tempera with egg yolk binder. Okay, so as you see, egg yolk plays a role like a glue to stick the pigment on the artwork surface. And tempera dries quickly, so the colors cannot be blended easily once they are set down. So traditionally, tempera was sewed on a wood panel support prepared with a ground of gesso, a mixture of white pigment, and glue that sealed the wood and could be sanded and rubbed to a smooth ivory-like finish. And the third medium we are going to see is oil. Oil paints consist of pigment compounded with oil. Historically, the most commonly used oils have been linseed oil, poppy seed oil, and walnut oil. And today, commercial manufacturers of artist colors often grind darker pigment with linseed oil and light pigments such as white and yellow with poppy seed oil or sunflower oil, which do not yellow over time as linseed oil tends to do. But all these oils have in common is that they will dry at room temperature, leaving the pigment particles suspended in a transparent film. This is Johannes Vermeer's oil painting, Girl with a Pearl Earring in 1665. And Johannes Vermeer was a Dutch Baroque period painter who specialized in domestic interior sense of middle-class life. And during his life, he was a moderately successful provincial genre painter. So he has an excellent technique with the oil painting. And this is a video on how to make oil paint in a traditional way. So please watch this video after this meeting. It is in Moodle Room page. So traditional oil paints are made like this by mixing pigment and oil together with the heavy and even bottom tool like this, this cone she's holding. And many masters of painting in art history love to use oil for their painting because it dries slow, so artists can easily revise their painting and available blend colors on the work surface. So, let's compare oil with and the tempera in terms of vehicle. So oil painting and the tempera painting looks almost the same. I mean, the final result, the final product looks like very similar, but they use same color because they use the same color pigment powder. And they can also paint on the wood, canvas, or diverse surfaces. However, oil is much cheaper than egg yolk of temperance vehicle, and oil is easy to get compared to the other vehicle. Also, oil paint dries slowly, so easy to blend on the work surfaces. So that's why many painters prefer to use oil vehicle for their painting for a long time. And the last painting medium we are going to see is acrylic. Have you ever used acrylic paint before? I guess, lots of, lots of
I
people.
use acrylic paint
I
all the
have.
time
Yeah.
to
I
paint.
need it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't like it.
You don't like it? Oh, why?
I actually like acrylic paint. I always use it for my paintings.
So
I'll stick to digital art. It's better.
I see. So digital art is, always, convenient, convenient to, revise everything. We can redo everything. Yeah. But acrylic paint is the, one of the most convenient paints, medium in art now. So the enormous developments in chemistry during the early 20th century had an impact in artists' studio. So by the 1930s, chemistries, chemists had learned to make a strong, weatherproof industrial paints using a vehicle of synthetic plastic resins. So these new synthetic artist colors are broadly known as acrylic. So the vehicle consists of acrylic resin polymerized through emulsion in water. As acrylic paint dries, the resin particles coalesces to form a tough, flexible, and waterproof film. So acrylic can mimic the effects of oil paint and watercolor by concentration of water. So as I said, many contemporary artists use acrylic because it doesn't need a special vehicle to use. It can make oil paint and watercolor effects by water's concentration, which is the most strong feature of the acrylic paint. And when you use a small amount of water, you can make oil paint effects like this. And when you add enough water in the acrylic paint, then you can use it like a watercolor paint. So like this painting, the artist shows oil painting effects on the emphasis part and the watercolor effects on the subordination part by using acrylic paint. So the paintings chapter is done. It's pretty much short. We have a fun project today. So let me share a third sketchbook project. We're gonna do collage drawing. So now we learned the collage last time when you learned drawing. So collage is one of the genre of the drawing. So let's remind you what the collage is. So collage is a technique of art creation primarily used in the visual arts by which art result from an assemblage of different forms, thus creating a new whole. A collage may sometimes include magazine and newspaper clippings, ribbons, paint, bits of colored or handmade papers, portions of other work or text, photographs, and other found objects, and glued to a piece of paper or canvas. The origins of collage can be traced back hundreds of years, but this technique made a dramatic reappearance in the early 20th century as an art form of novelty. So the term collage was coined by both Georges Braque and Pablo Picasso in the beginning of the 20th century, when collage became a distinctive part of modern art. So collage in the modernist sense began with Cubist painters, Georges Braque and Pablo Picasso. According to some sources, Picasso was the first to use the collage technique in oil painting. And this is another artist example work of collage in painting. And the wood collage is a type that emerged somewhat later than paper collage. And the photo montage. Photo montage collage made from photographs or parts of photographs is called photomontage. Photomontage is the process and the result of making a composite photograph by cutting and joining a number of other photographs. The composite picture was sometimes photographed so that the final image is converted back into a seamless photographic print. The same method is accomplished today using image editing software like Photoshop. The technique is referred to by professionals as compositing. So this is Richard Hamilton's photo montage work. And this is another work of art by Richard Hamilton. His works are so modernistic with a creative composition. And we can see he seriously considered of the harmony between the photographs pieces. There is a video about the basic of collage in the sketchbook forum of the Moodle room. So this is a great guide video to make a collage art for the beginners. So please watch this video before you begin your collage work. So for this project, you will need a sketchbook, magazines, newspaper, old books, copy papers, or any useless papers or objects, and scissors, glue stick, pencil, eraser, any color mediums you have, and you can use any digital software to edit the photographs. Yeah. So that is also collage work. So you can use that. And please choose a simple object or a theme and represent it by collage style drawing. Okay. So as usual, please write a short description about your work of art when you post the process. And collage art takes long time, from the collection of paper pieces to completion of a work. So you can just upload an idea sketch or planning of your collage art. So now let me share examples with simple themes or object. So it is mixed media collage work. There is a big chunk of watercolor painting. So she used her watercolor painting for the collage work, and the magazine pieces and some sparkling material used for this work. And you can depict your favorite animal. Use the diverse color papers. And a rainbow with a magazine paper and a dog. So you can mix a hand drawing with the collage object. And you can make an abstract image like this. So this is one of the excellent example to mix photographs and drawing in a collage work. And you can draw something on your collage work to make a creativity in your work of art. And you can do, you can make a self-portrait with the collage technique and cute birds and a pair of heel, tulips, Liberty of a statue. So like this, you can use, text, like this. And a girl, a man's photo with pop art style drawing on it, a chicken. This is a photo montage style collage. Love this. A cupcake, a cute dog with the watercolor background. So you can mix any mediums for the collage work. A cup of coffee. So that's it. So as you can see, you can just pick a simple object or a theme. Just remember, do not make it complicated. It will take long time. So let me know if you have any questions about this project.
I have one.
Anna.
It can be any theme or object, right?
Anything.
And also about the collage, it can be either you use all papers or draw and then add papers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, you know what? Oh, here, can you see this? She
Yeah.
used her note taking for her collage work. Oh, this is brilliant. Yes. So you can use any papers. Okay. And
Okay.
so by tonight, you're gonna just post the process, and you're gonna finish this collage work by the end of the course. When you submit the final sketchbook projects file, so you have enough time to finish it. So to post your work process, go to sketchbook 5.2, which is in week 5, and please write what your theme or objects, and just write a short description about your collage work. So, and here is the videos to show the collage work guide. So please watch this first before you start your collage work. Any question?